Thank you again, everybody, and I really appreciate, especially on a weeknight, great turnout, I love it, especially on a weeknight to come out and celebrate America. I want to first say that Pastor Shahram Hadian could not be here today. He's actually in Denver at a conference, and then he's headed over to Everett, but he did have a statement that he did want to read, and I want to start off by reading that statement from him. And I think it really highlights what this is about. I love America, don't you? Yeah. Man, I love it. I love the fact that here in America, we have freedom and liberty. And it's not just something we talk about. It's something that is real to us, something that's tangible to us. And it really kind of seems like the world's upside down a little bit right now, doesn't it? Yeah. A little bit. So I always start off the speeches that I give, and before I read Pastor Hadian's statement, by saying that our hope is not in man, our hope is in Jesus Christ. Amen? And I would also admonish everybody here to pray for the Spokane City Council. Make sure you include them in your prayers. They have an awful tough job with such a large city, and we want them to make wise decisions. So please make sure you pray for them. I also want to recognize our veterans today. Please raise your hand if you're a veteran. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. So my name is Matt Shea, and while I am the 4th District State Representative, I'm here today as a concerned citizen. And I'm here today because I believe in Act for America and the work that they're doing. And I was actually back in Washington, D.C. with them recently at their national conference. And I'm concerned about a lot of things because, like I said before, I love America. I love the fighting spirit of Americans. I love the idea that Americans defend freedom and liberty, and not just for ourselves, but we defend it around the world. I love the fact that America is about the rule of law. I love the fact that in our republic that we're not governed by religious law. We're not governed by foreign law. We're governed by the Constitution of the United States of America. I love that. I love the fact that women in America have the right to vote. They have the right to drive. They have the right to wear pretty clothes and makeup. I love that about America. So I want to thank everybody again that's traveled to celebrate America and has traveled from outside the borders of the state as well, and has traveled from all parts. And so I'm going to read a statement by Pastor Hadian real quick. And here's what he has to say. Below is the mission statement of the Muslim Brotherhood for the United States, directly from the horse's mouth. This is their direct words and not the so-called anti-Muslim rhetoric. And I'd like to point out, for those that don't know, that Pastor Hadian is a former Muslim, and he's speaking from direct experience as well. This must be read either at the rally or at the council meeting or both. And here is what this says. Page 7 of the explanatory memorandum, which was discovered in an FBI raid, and I'm going to get to that here in a bit, in the home of a senior member of the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States of America. Here's what it says, quote, "The process of settlement is a civilization jihad process, with all the word that means. The Ikhwan, Muslim Brotherhood, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers," end quote. Then he also included the Muslim Brotherhood creed. Allah is our objective, the Quran is our law, the Prophet is our leader, jihad is our way, and death for the sake of Allah is the highest of our aspiration, end quote. And here is a statement from CAIR's founder, Omar Ahmed, okay? And CAIR is the group that is being honored tonight here. Here is a statement from their founder. Islam isn't in America to be equal to any other faith, but to become dominant. The Quran should be the highest authority in America, and Islam the only accepted religion on earth, end quote. So, I have a question, and this is really a challenge. That is a very, I think, inflammatory quote from the founder of CAIR, and so I would ask the leaders of CAIR that are going to be present today, will you renounce and will you denounce that statement? And I want to challenge them to see if they'll do it publicly. Will you do that? I want to see, and Pastor Hadian and I talked on the phone, I want to see a public denunciation of violence, a public denunciation of terrorism, a public denunciation of the Muslim Brotherhood as well. And so, before I go further and talk a little bit more about this, I want to mention very simply that this rally today is not about immigrants or immigration. And I love immigrants because I married one.
It's about hate.
I love the fact that my wonderful wife had to wait in line for almost 3 years to immigrate to America peacefully. And to immigrate to America because she loved this country and didn't want to be persecuted in the former Soviet Union. So we need to make sure that that's clear. Second, I want to make sure it's clear that this rally is not anti-Muslim. Now, some of the media might try to portray it some way different, but I want to tell my own personal story. As a commander on the ground in Iraq and Baghdad, I made a lot of friends. In fact, I actually spent every day in the afternoon, other than Sunday, having tea with local Iraqi leaders. And I grew to have many friends that were, and one of those people actually helped us on the ground in Iraq, on the base camp, and I helped him come to America and resettle in America with his daughter, because I made him a promise that his daughter, who was so horribly deformed from bad scoliosis, that she had to come to America to be treated. And that's what it means to be an American. We go across, even with some folks we might disagree with, and we help them. We help them. But we also acknowledge what the truth is. And the truth is that Sharia law is not compatible with the Constitution of the United States of America. That is the truth. And it's interesting that Ben Carson said that, and some people are going to call that racist, I'm sure. That Ben Carson also said that, and I agree with that statement. I agree with that statement. So, I need to say, too, that I'm very concerned, and that this rally also is against terrorism and against jihadi and jihadist organizations in this country. And I think we all agree about that as Americans. If we want to live in peace and freedom, I mean, my goodness gracious, I'm really concerned that CAIR is being recognized after the Holy Land Foundation trial specifically listed CAIR in court documents. And I want to make sure that we actually read this stuff, and I want to read a quote from the National Review. Okay, this is not Manche, this is the National Review. And this is about CAIR. Quote, "It is connected to Hamas. Hamas is a designated terrorist organization by the United States and many other governments. One of those governments, by the way, is United Arab Emirates. And it's indirectly created CAIR, and the two groups remain tight. Examples: in 1994, CAIR head Nihad Awad publicly declared his support for Hamas. The Holy Land Foundation, a Hamas front group, contributed $5,000 to CAIR. In turn, CAIR exploited the 9/11 attacks to raise money for the Holy Land Foundation trial. And this past August, demonstrators at a CAIR-sponsored rally in Florida proclaimed, quote, 'We are Hamas,' end quote. It settled a lawsuit against CAIR. And again, I'm still reading from the National Review. It settled a lawsuit. CAIR initiated a libel lawsuit in 2004 over 5 statements by a group called Anti-CAIR. But 2 years later, CAIR settled that lawsuit with prejudice, meaning that it cannot be reopened, implicitly acknowledging the accuracy of the anti-CAIR assertions, which include, quote, CAIR is a terrorist supporting front organization that is partially funded by terrorists, end quote, and then quote again, CAIR is supported by terrorist supporting individuals, groups, and countries, quote, CAIR has proven links to and was founded by Islamic terrorists, and CAIR actively supports terrorists and terrorist supporting organizations and nations. It includes individuals accused of terrorism. At least 7 board members or staff of CAIR have been arrested, denied entry to the U.S., or were indicted on or pled guilty to and were convicted of terrorist charges, including Siraj Wahaj, Bassam Khafagi, Randall Ismail Royer, Ghassan Alashi, Rabi Haddad, Muthana Al-Hanoudi, and Nabil Sadoun. And don't make me say that again, end quote. That is from the National Review. But more than that, at the Holy Land Foundation trial, a federal judge ruled that CAIR was an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation trial. And here's what the quote was from the court documents. This is again not me. Quote, "The following are individuals/entities who are and who or were members of the Muslim Brotherhood's Palestinian Committee and or its organizations. Council on Islamic Relations, Council on American-Islamic Relations, aka CAIR," end quote. Also from those same court documents, the following, quote, "The following are individuals who are and or were members of the Muslim Brotherhood, North American Islamic Trust, aka NAIT," end quote. I want to be clear on this. That ruling was never overturned. In fact, it was upheld in a Fifth Circuit decision. That is a judge ruling that in a court of law in America as part of the Holy Land Foundation trial. And I also want to mention that Ibrahim El-Barasi, who was arrested prior to this Holy Land Foundation trial, and his house raided in the sub-basement, the FBI found the archives of the Muslim Brotherhood. And in that archive, I mean, we're talking hundreds of boxes, thousands of documents, and in that archive was found an exploratory memorandum. Okay? You can read it for yourself. Quote, "A list of our organizations and the organizations of our friends. Imagine if they all were marching according to one plan, and one of those organizations is the North American Islamic Trust." Why do I bring that up? Because I'm really concerned that the North American Islamic Trust is who owns the mosque in Spokane Valley. I am a concerned citizen about that. And I think we all should be concerned about that. These are not just statements without evidence. These are things that have been actually shown in a court of law. And for all of us out here today, like I said before, we need to be praying for the folks that are in there. And we need to be praying that there will continue to be peace in this country and peace in this community. But the bottom line is, I don't think that an organization in a court of law that has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood should be honored by the city of Spokane. Do you?
Yeah. We shouldn't have to pay fires insurance.
Now imagine if it was the Tea Party that was part of a trial and listed in a list of organizations. What would be happening in the media right now? My goodness gracious. Right now in our country, we need to come together, and the single thing that unites all of us is the Constitution of this country.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sad when there are organizations like CAIR that are honored that very clearly has stated publicly, and their leadership has stated publicly, things that I would take as being antithetical to the Constitution, as being against the Constitution, and studying the Reliance of the Traveler and other works, studying those things, you can very clearly see that there can only be one pledge. It's either to Allah or it's to the Constitution of the United States. There can't be both. And that really makes me concerned. It does. So I want to end with a couple things before everybody, we can move inside and hopefully have an opportunity for your voices to be heard as the people inside the city council chambers. We need to preach the truth in love, and sometimes that's uncomfortable. But the evidence is very clear that this organization, CAIR, should not be recognized. It should not be honored in an official body in Spokane, Washington. Instead, what would be better tonight is to do a salutation to our veterans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and for their brothers who didn't come home. And also for the families that have had to live with those sacrifices as well. So thank you again, everybody, for being here today. I really appreciate it. Be polite and respectful as you always are, but get the truth out, get your point across. And that is how we can make freedom happen and make sure our kids live in peace and prosperity and freedom. And as Pastor Hadian always says, not only God bless all of you, but may we bless God by continuing to keep America free. Thank you very much.
American.